I've heard many people say that they are black-pilled. And if you're not familiar with that phrase, it means pessimistic. You don't see a way out. You don't see how we win. It seems like things are getting worse. But my friends, nay! Things are getting better. We're winning. We have this story from Business Insider. Conservative boycotts against Target and Bud Light are working thanks to a perfect storm of social media and culture wars, experts say. Well, we must trust the experts. They're speaking in the media. Well, the story's from a few days ago. We also have this story from the Wall Street Journal as of this morning. Companies that embraced social issues have second thoughts. Executives rethink if and when to weigh in on potentially divisive issues, fearing backlash from all sides, and develop crisis plans in case things go wrong. I can't say that I was entirely surprised to see this. I do think a large component of what we see in the media with wokeness is an emergent phenomenon and not a conspiracy. That is, there are many people who believe that all of this is happening because Marxists have infiltrated and that ESG scores dictate finance. And those things are true. But those things do not explain the totality of the culture war picture. That is, I have long argued that algorithms are driving this machine, and I do not think it was intentional. Now, there is a good argument as to it potentially being intentional. Or I should say, it may be that Marxists, neo-Marxists, groomers, etc., ESG, powerful international interests conspired and worked with these big tech platforms to create algorithms that would drive their ideology. Entirely possible. I don't think so. I really don't. Because when you look at ElsaGate and other strange algorithmic phenomena that occurred on the internet, it doesn't seem that there was any real plan with any of it. So let me slow down and break down what I see happening. The first and most important message for all of you is reported definitively in numerous mainstream publications. Wokeness is killing these corporations. Get woke, go broke may not be absolute, but it is so likely. And many of these companies are saying we better not do this anymore, with the Wall Street Journal pointing out that many companies are starting to back away and panic, saying we cannot get involved in this. But how could that be if we are looking at environmental social governance standards and social credit scores as it pertains to finance? Well, I want to read this article for you, but I want to break it down just very quickly. The algorithmic world. What we see in everything over the past 10 years is, in my opinion, a natural liberal bias among those who work and live in big cities to push towards what they view as socially acceptable because they want to make money and they don't want to be on the wrong side of things. I'll put it this way. There was a period where new startups in social media that were riding the algorithm were Ron Paul fans, were libertarian. And then it slowly started to shift into anti-racist, police brutality, transgender issues, feminism, etc. Why? That was perceivably the civil rights move and socially acceptable. And because people just kept driving in that direction, we ended up here with utter insanity basically everywhere. Indoctrinated young people who believe crackpot crazy things, many others who just fall in line with whatever is perceivably popular so they don't get ostracized. And then, of course, corporations embracing what they think is popular only to have it explode in their faces. Now, the reason why I don't think the algorithmic manipulation is a conspiracy and it's more of an emergent phenomenon, meaning it happened somewhat naturally, is that the initial algorithmic crisis was weird videos of nonsense. You've got ElsaGate, where people would dress up like Elsa, Spider-Man, and Joker and run around, and they made a bunch of money doing it. That wasn't popular. The machine was just driving that. Now, I suppose you can argue it was a conspiracy and YouTube intentionally was pushing that stuff, but they weren't. They tried to stop it. They panicked. There was an adpocalypse. There was a big push where there was a bifurcation on social media with a right-wing push and a left-wing push. And what happened? They started shutting down right-wing channels. Why? I think it's fairly obvious. In the bias of Silicon Valley, you have some regular guy who's surrounded by woke cultist nonsense, maybe because of universities, maybe because partially of algorithms, and they say, Tim Pool's a conservative, you should ban him. And they go, well, we don't ban conservatives. Just because they're conservative, they're allowed to exist and speak. And then they go, yeah, but Crowder, he's far right. Now, in reality, Crowder's a conservative, I'm a moderate, and they're a liberal. But the far left comes in and says Crowder's far right. And they go, yeah, actually, Crowder does go too far. Because of their personal biases, they enacted rules that they believed were centrist when in fact they were far left. I kid you not. I know people who are socialists who tell me they're centrists. And I'm like, dude, you're not a centrist. And they're like, listen, what I'm advocating for, I'm like, you're advocating for redistribution of wealth. That's left. I'm not even saying far left. It's just left. You're not a centrist. So I see a lot of this with the corporations, with Target, with Bud Light. They don't know what they're doing. They're on social media and they see this and they sure go for it. Now, some people have pointed out that Human Rights Campaign has something called like the Corporate Equality Index. And of course, there's the Environmental Social Governance scores. But I don't think those are as strong as people believe. I do think they play a role. Don't get me wrong. But I think what's really happened is when enough people promote an idea and they're in media, everyone else sees it and creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. But regular people are not in that bubble. So when Target crosses the line, regular people snap. And then Target is faced with a massive stock collapse because the world they've been chasing does not exist. They are a crackpot cult. I explained this several years ago. Imagine a giant maelstrom, a whirlpool, and everyone's in it, but it's getting smaller and tighter and spinning faster and faster. Well, as it does, it throws everyone out of it. That was mainstream culture, a slow-moving, spinning pool that we're all in and interacting with. But eventually it tightened up and got smaller to the point where there's very few people still left in it, spinning around like crazy. And the faster it goes, the crazier they get. But most people have been ejected from that world, and that is the media landscape. So on Twitter, people like Jack Dorsey start to believe insane things. When I argue with him about why don't you ban people for disparaging those who are body dysmorphic in general? Why just trans people? They don't have an answer because he's in that weird whirlpool of algorithmic chaos. Those of us that have been ejected from it can see how insane these people have become. And Target stays in it thinking that is dominant culture, but it is not. It is shrinking. It is collapsing. We are winning. Let me read for you the story. And we'll elaborate on this. Again, I want to stress, I'm not saying ESG, CEI, all that stuff isn't happening. I'm not saying schools aren't infiltrated by woke, crazy people. That is all true. But it's more than just a group of people. I think what's happening is these ideas may have been in universities, but it was social media algorithms that propagated them. The Wall Street Journal writes, in May, clothing company The North Face released a video for Pride Month featuring drag performer Patagonia. The ad was similar to one the performer appeared in for the outdoor apparel maker a year earlier. The reaction was not. Within hours, calls for a boycott of the company spread on social media. The North Face wants to be the next Bud Light, one user wrote. Aren't you supposed to learn from others' mistakes, said another user. CEOs spent the past few years adjusting to a world in which investors, customers, and employees expected corporate leaders to align themselves with social causes. Today, that has made companies targets in the U.S. culture wars, where one step can turn a social media storm into a corporate crisis that cripples businesses and wrecks careers. Some CEOs are now rethinking how or whether to weigh in on sensitive political or social matters, with trans and other LGBT issues particularly in the spotlight. At PPG Industries, a Pittsburgh maker of Glidden paint, coatings, and other products, Chief Executive Tim Navish asked senior leaders at the company earlier this year to review its process for engaging on polarizing topics. So many political and cultural issues have ensnared companies, Navish said, that he wanted the company to have a robust plan should it need to respond. There's no pure algorithm to put all this stuff in a spreadsheet to tell you what to do. PPG uses an internal scoring system to determine if and when it makes sense for the company to comment on matters that may offend some of its customers and employees or affect its brands. I got one for you. How about never? Let's talk about our good friends over at Bud Light. Bud Light decides to do marketing by hiring Dylan Mulvaney. Why? No, seriously, why? I got an idea for an ad campaign for you, Bud Light, you could have done instead. It is let's just do this. I said last night a mountain. No, look, a blank blue background with a can of Bud Light and beer in big red letters. That's it. That's all you had to do. Remind people that Bud Light existed and they'll buy it. That's it. Seriously. Instead, they were like, let's find one of the most polarizing, disturbing personalities and have them put on a shocking and offensive display. And maybe that will result in more people buying our product. And it didn't. And it has destroyed Bud Light. Bud Light is now facing a permanent sale decline. If they do not recover in the next couple of months, what's going to happen is all of the distributors are going to realign their products. So basically what happens is you get like a quarterly report and they say, hey, we sold 30% less Bud Light. Replace the Bud Light for the next shipment with Modelo. Then the Modelo jumps, and this will cause a ripple effect. You won't be able to buy the beer because it won't be anywhere. Many people have pointed out that Bud Light is on track to become a specialty beer just for the gay community. Seems possible. But let's read more. They're going to say, senior leaders, including representatives from the legal department and human resources, meet regularly to discuss the pros and cons of taking a position. If executives do decide to comment, they then discuss how to best communicate. Navish said he re-examined an older evaluation process the company used in light of recent blow-ups. We run a business. We don't run a political organization. We don't run a religious organization, and we don't run a social organization. However, we recognize that we operate in a society. We hire employees with opinions and views. We work with customers that have opinions and views. So we have to take all of that into account. I'll tell you this. We have a coffee company. Go to castbrew.com and you can buy our coffee. We say on the back that we did this because we want to build companies that support American values. That's it. That's all we're saying. We're a company that supports American values. We love this country. We want to be better, a more perfect union. We want to weed out corruption. We want civil rights to expand. We think America's great. I am not going to make Cast Brew ads where it's like, we here at a coffee company think that what they're doing in the oil drilling industry is what? It's coffee. It's coffee. Now, look, if where we source our coffee from has a controversy, then we will say our company sources our coffee from this location and due to this, we'll do this, that, or otherwise. But why is Bud Light engaging in issues on pride? What does that have to, what? Bud Light, drink it because gay people should get married. Huh? Your product has nothing to do with any of that. If you were selling wedding dresses, I might, say, like, well, they're in the wedding industry and they want to sell products to a certain group of people or whatever. But beer? It doesn't make sense. You're a paint company, dude? Come on. Everyone's unhappy. Executives are finding out how easy it is to leave everyone unhappy. After a Bud Light promotion with Phil Mulvaney, we get it, resulted in collapse, then Target, we get it. We all know about that collapse. Look at this. Wow. Police officers outside of Target as people protested across the street in Miami. Wow. Over the past decade, companies have become more vocal on causes such as immigration, voting access, abortion, gay rights, and racial equity, often taking stances shared by progressives. Many executives said they felt pushed by employees or customers to express an opinion on issues rippling through society. What is changing now, executives and corporate advisors said, is that conservative groups and political leaders are pushing back against companies more forcefully. Consumers are also more openly expressing frustration that companies are airing views in some ways, airing views in ways some don't welcome. The divisiveness in the country, the woke discussion, it's got more teeth. It's got more anger, I think, than anybody really anticipated, said Jim Fielding, a former chief executive of retailer Claire's Stores and a former president of Disney Stores, who is now an executive at the media company Archer Gray. At Upwork, which operates a marketplace for freelance workers and other professionals, Chief Executive Hayden Brown said she and her leadership team have developed an internal rubric over the past 3 years that has proven helpful in determining how to handle delicate issues. The company considers a series of questions when deciding whether to weigh in. How central is this topic to our business, to our customers? Bingo. That's the first question, right? Does it really concern them? Would they expect us to be opining on this because it really intersects with their day-to-day lives? We don't think it's our job to opine on everything, but at the same time, it's not our job to stay on the sidelines either. No, it certainly is, okay? It certainly is. I am not going to come out. Well, look, this is a commentary channel. This is what Timcast does. But I'm saying like the average business, let's say you make, tires. You make tires for cars. I don't care about your opinion on whether gay people can hook up with each other. Ford trucks built Ford tough. And then the car comes out and it's a rainbow flag. What does that have to do with the car? Nothing. All you're doing is spitting in the face of half the population for no reason. So don't be surprised when no one wants to buy your product because you're like, we intentionally want to offend people in a way that has nothing to do with our core business. But they get it. Brown took the CEO job in January 2020 and said her entire tenure has been marked by such decisions, resulting in the company commenting on race after the murder of George Floyd and on Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Why? Look, we here at Timcast don't have a corporate or editorial stance to publicly declare, but I, as the principal talent of the Timcast Corporation, opine for a living. It makes sense. People come here quite literally to hear what I think and what I have to say, or just to outright argue with me in the comments, and that's fantastic. But as for any other company, dude, I don't care what a soap company thinks about George Floyd at all. I just don't. Bro, does it clean my hands and my dishes? Then why do I care about what you think about police brutality? Are you selling soap to cops? It needs to stop. It needs to end. They say despite the growing acceptance of LGBT rights and the legalization of same-sex marriage in many countries, companies still grapple with anti-gay sentiment at home or internationally. In Malaysia, police officers in May raided 2 stores owned by Swiss company Swatch and confiscated LGBT-themed watches with rainbow elements. The LA Dodgers experienced an outcry. Okay, I'm not going to read what they said. They're having the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. Yeah, that's like a minstrel show. I'm not playing games, okay? When you get a bunch of people to dress up like nuns with painted faces, men to do so, to mock Christianity, I don't see that as any different from a minstrel show where people put on blackface. And the left certainly does, but their opinions are garbage. I don't care what they think. Don't go around insulting groups of people for no reason. You want to criticize a religion? I get it. Absolutely. This is just direct mockery without critique. Direct mockery. In a letter to Major League Baseball, Florida Senator Marco Rubio objected to the invitation. They rescinded it. They brought it back. And now you've got Major League Baseball players threatening boycotts. So what happens? MLB changes their logo. They get rid of the pride flag. The experience are reshaping conversations among executives as they enter Pride Month. There's no Pride Month. That's just something that the left made. And I'll say it this way. Look, the left can decide it's Pride Month. That's fine. Which is why I said it's American Greatness Month. If you can just decide that's what it is, then it is. Fine. So if you're on the left, it's Pride Month to you. To me, it's not. To me, it's American Greatness Month because I've so deemed it. And if you agree, say the same thing. Say, oh, I don't know anything about Pride Month. It's American Greatness Month. Next month, MAGA Month. That's right. This month is where we celebrate the greatness of America and all its accomplishments, achievements, and the expansion of civil rights. And next month, we celebrate strengthening America and working towards a better future for everyone. And you change your profile picture to have a little American flag. That's what we do. Because I just so deemed it. And if the corporations deem it, they could do the exact same thing. It's not the end of LGBT marketing. It's the end of amateurism in LGBT marketing, says Fabrice Hudart, who consults Fortune 500 companies. Blah, 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 blah. I get it. They want to advertise to LGBT people. And by all means, sure. I can see that my clients are more cautious, but none of them have said I'm going to change my strategy or roll back what I'm doing. I don't believe it. They are. They're panicking. Now, I know a lot of companies are doubling down. We have, here we go. Fortune.com. Big companies from PepsiCo to General Motors are still backing Pride events, even after Target and Bud Light face anti-LGBTQ backlash. Okay. Boycott them. Seriously. This is why we started castbrew.com. We want a coffee company that doesn't do these things. We want physical locations where people can share ideas and meet in the real world and be free from all of this stuff. We're not for or against anything. We're culturally, but one thing, for American values. And people want to come together and share ideas. And that means that if you're LGBTQ and you want to come to a Cast Brew coffee shop and debate your ideas and hang out and have coffee, you're welcome to. It's America, baby. It's a free country. It's what we're all about. But we're not going to sponsor Pride events. Why would we do that? Why would we sponsor anything? We're going to sponsor our own events and just do our thing. This is what companies need to be doing. Now, the main point. Jeremy's chocolate. Jeremy's razors. Conservative Dad's ultra-right beer. You name it. Go to publicsq.com. Download their app. It's an app that shows you businesses that support American values. Just start supporting businesses that share your values. It's not perfect, but we can build up a strong market that says no to all of this. You know what? Don't drink Pepsi. Not because of anything having to do with this. No, but it's because the sugar is just awful for you. Pepsi's so bad for you. In my opinion, I think you'd be better off not drinking it. Consult a doctor about your health decisions. General Motors, bro, I can get any car. Hey, how about this? Elon Musk ain't perfect. Tesla certainly has woke policies. But so long as Elon Musk is buying Twitter, supporting documentaries like What is a Woman, blasting it out to like 100, 200 million viewers, buy a Tesla. If you can, I know they're not always super cheap, but support people who are doing things you like. Vote with your dollars, vote with your feet, and you can make those changes happen. In the meantime, let me just say the time is now. We're seeing it in the news. They are telling us outright companies are reeling from this. Now is the moment we double down. Don't shop at Chick-fil-A. And I know people are like, you'll never get a Chick-fil-A boycott. Suburban moms love it too much. So what? If their sales drop by 5% because we don't go there, let them feel it to any degree. Because when they do, they'll spread the word. Hey guys, we lost a lot of money because of this. And nobody wants to lose money. They want to make money. So it's that simple. No matter how small you may feel, your actions matter. And if you all, each and every one of you said, I will not service these companies, I will not buy from General Motors, I will not buy Pepsi, I will not buy Target, I will not buy Bud Light, it will impact them. And let them know. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all next time.